Madam Secretary, next question is via email. Please.
This is a question from Karachi, and it says, "Good afternoon, Madam Secretary. My name is Rakshanda from Karachi, and I'm a student at the Muhammad Ali Jinnah University. My question is, what kind of accountability is needed to ensure the success of democracy?"
I think several things are needed. We've talked about a few of them. An independent judiciary, a free press that is exercising its freedom of expression, but doing so in a way that is accurate, or at least as accurate as possible. A commitment by elected officials to play by the rules, the rule of law being the paramount. A respect for minority rights, a tolerance for diversity and pluralism. You know, when I was in the mosque this morning, the imam was telling me that in that mosque they have been working on interfaith dialogue, which I greatly appreciate, particularly in these times, to bring people together in a respectful fashion to discuss their religious faith and beliefs, but not to in any way threaten the other. And the imam and the archaeologist who was guiding us said, "You see that building over there? That is a very sacred shrine for Sikhs, and it is right next to a mosque." He said, "That's the way it was for hundreds of years." So there are many aspects to democracy that have to be developed and accepted, even when you disagree. You know, sometimes people do things in my country or they say things which I disagree with completely, but I respect their right to say it. And there are people who have attitudes, they have beliefs that I find absolutely unacceptable, but as long as they're not harming someone else, then we say they have a right to have those beliefs. So I think democracy is much, much more than elections. And it really needs to start in the attitudes that you learn in school and the attitudes that you see practiced every day. And I hope that we can do more to lift up all the different aspects of democracy so that people know elections are important, but that's not the end of democracy. That, in fact, is just the beginning. And you have to have built-in accountability for those who are elected. There has to be much more transparency. There has to be a committed effort against corruption, which robs people in societies from getting the services and the assistance that they deserve to have. There have to be checks and balances among different parts of a government and separation of powers so that no one person or no one institution can have absolute power in your society. And I think Pakistan is on the way to realizing a much stronger and more durable democracy.
Hello ma'am, I am Sava Mumtaz and I represent Seeds of Peace here. I am a medical student at King Edward Medical University. First of all, I'd like ma'am to know what an inspiration she is for all the aspiring young women all around the world for being who she is. Ma'am, thank you so much for coming here today. Talking about the speech that you just gave, and in the beginning, you talked about the misunderstandings and the lack of communication between the two collateral partners, Pakistan and America. Ma'am, we also see that every time an American leader comes, he always emphasizes the fact that there should be exchange of information, intelligence all along. But at the same time, the drone attacks are being carried out in our country, in our people. They are causing so much collateral damage at the same time. We, at one point, asked United States of America to share the intelligence with us and carry it out, and at the same time, the drone attacks are still going on in this Waziristan. What does Madam or America in general plans to do about that? Because it's creating a lot of frustration among our people.
Well, I will not talk about that specifically, but generally, let me say that there's a war going on, and thankfully there is a very professional and successful military effort that has been undertaken by the Pakistani military. And I'm hoping that the support that the United States provides and the courage of the Pakistani military will bring much of this to a conclusion. Now, there will unfortunately always be those who seek to inflict terror, but eventually they can be eliminated and they can be deterred if society just abruptly turns against them. So I think that the war that your government and your military is waging right now is a very important one for the future of Pakistan, and we are going to continue to assist the government and the military to be successful in that war.
Hello, ma'am. Muhammad Yusuf from Institute of Communication Studies, University of Punjab. My question is about the war on terror. As you have mentioned in your speech that there is a misunderstanding, lack of communication among United Nations and Pakistan. I don't think there is any misunderstanding or lack of communication. I think there is a deficit of confidence, and that has a history, long history behind it. My question is, would it not be better to replace the present US and NATO forces in Afghanistan by UNO peacekeeping forces from the liberal, democratic, Islamic countries, so that to give some sort of credibility to this war which is going on, so that Muslims also believe that they are participating in this, and they also believe that what is going to happen on the name of war or terror?
Well, you know, there are Muslim forces in Afghanistan right now. Countries like Turkey or the United Arab Emirates, others are participating and contributing forces because I think they believe, as you seem to suggest, that this needs to be an international effort. So the international security forces already stationed in Afghanistan are very diverse. As I said, they include forces from predominantly Muslim nations. So I think we already have a very broad cross-section of countries that understand that defeating the threat of extremism and terrorism is in everyone's interests. It is particularly in the interests of Muslim countries because these extremist groups seem to target Muslim countries, whether it's Indonesia or it is Pakistan or Afghanistan. You know, there have been incidents in Egypt and Saudi Arabia and so many others that are really the targets of these people. And so I think that that's why you already have Muslim nations. And of course, you know, Pakistan itself is one of the principal contributors to peacekeeping forces around the world. Pakistani soldiers are in many other countries, and they go to countries that are not Islamic countries, but they are welcomed because they are very professional. So I think it is important not to limit the struggle against terrorism to any one group of countries, or certainly any faith, because this is a universal common threat. So I'm very proud that we have so many different countries participating and that Pakistan is helping to keep the peace often very far from home.